So the thing that gives it away is that this is a perfect squared number and an even exponent. This is a perfect squared number and an even exponent, and it's also positive, okay? These are always positive. So if that's a negative 9b squared, then it's technically not a perfect square, okay? And so when we look at the generic form, we have a squared term in the front, a squared term in the back, and it's positive. And then this plus or minus says that this sign in the middle could be positive or it could be negative, is what it's saying. So when we're doing these, we know that this is what I call the fat skinny, and it's going to, the fat special. It's going to get skinny. For exactly the reason that I just showed you. So the first thing we can do is, once we recognize that this is a perfect square and this is a perfect square, then we set up our formation, which is just a single set of parentheses with a square. Okay. The next thing we'll do is similar to this method. Take the square root of the a and put it in the front. So the a term is here, so we take the square root of that. The square root of 25 is 5. And the square root of a squared, we just divide that in half as a. The next thing we're going to do is take the square root of the c term and put that in the back. That's exactly the same as this one. So take the square root of 9b squared, and we get 3. And half of b squared would just be b. But here's the last piece. I forgot to say this part. So the sign always matches the b term. So if this is a negative 30, I'll use a different color. If this is a negative 30 AB, then this will be a negative sign. So whatever that sign is will be the sign in the middle. So you have to determine which sign would be there. And then what we have to do is actually check the middle term. And to check the middle term, check the middle. And I'm just going to say we're going to do the arc times 2, and I'll explain what that means. So as you notice, we use the front to put the front and the back to put the back, but we haven't actually looked at the 30 at all. We use the sign of it for the sign here, but we didn't pay any attention to the 30. That actually has to happen after you set it up. So what we're going to do is multiply these two together. 5a times negative 3b would actually be negative 15ab. We just squish it together. And so that's what I call the arc. We do the arc. This is the arc. Multiply these two together and then double it. So multiply it times 2. The reason we're doing that is because of exactly what's happening here. When we multiply 5x times negative 2, that's the same as this, 5x times negative 2. So we just do it once to get the negative 10x, and then instead of writing it out twice, we just double it. So we know if we do it the first time, it would be negative 10x. The other one's going to be exactly the same. So we could just find one of them and then multiply it by 2 to get the two of them for the middle term. So when I multiply negative 15ab times 2, I do get negative 30ab. So that means it does match, so that one does work. So when we say check the middle term, that's what we need to do. If this said 20, then this will not work for it, which means you would have to go, you would have to factor it not using the shortcut.